You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
It used to be that calling a film a turkey was an insult. Nowadays, there's actually an audience for some of the worst movies ever made.
Baby, you are gonna go broke showing turkeys like these.
Now we're talking turkey.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
It's turkey time. Gobble, gobble.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Let's Talk Turkeys. I'm Movie Miss, and I'm flying solo today. I decided to go ahead and do a mini episode for the movie House 2, The Second Story from 1987.
Last year, audiences everywhere thrilled to a terrifying film about the horrors of home ownership. House. Now, there's an all-new house.
Like you got some kind of alternate universe in there or something.
With brand new owners.
Charlie. Huh? Got it.
And it's getting weirder.
Look, it's a prehistoric bird.
I got you, Jeff! I've seen enough tragedy and disaster to make you want to upchuck in your shorts.
Two friends inherit a fantastic house.
Charlie, there's a jungle in there.
And a 170-year-old mummy.
Surprise!
Who is this?
You can call me Gramps.
Now, they're in for more trouble than they ever imagined.
You're gonna kick the door open, run in there blindly, and I'll cover you, okay?
Guy with the big gun goes first.
House 2, the second story.
This place gives me the creeps.
And the reason I'm doing kind of a solo mini episode about it is because my co-host Nikki Flicks and other people that I asked about this movie all hate this movie. Not even in a good way to where it would be fun to do a full episode on it and talk about it. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about this movie. I'm kind of a fan of elements of it. I don't hate it. It's not abysmal. It's not a turd, which I think some movies, in my opinion, are big old turds. This one is not. This one I don't hate. The pieces are there, I will say, but it just doesn't come together. And if you're going to do a comparison to its predecessor, House, which I'm going to say right now, if you're hearing this, please tune in for our episode on House, because that movie, Nikki Flicks and myself both, mind blown. Rewatching House after all these years, not only is it a horror comedy, but there are some themes in it. It is such a clever fucking script. I'm just going to say, even if you didn't like the movie House, please listen to our episode because you may reconsider watching it after our episode. But today, like I said, we're going to talk briefly about House 2 because there's just a lot of random, fun little things to talk about. So House 2, The Second Story, 1987, was a fast-tracked sequel because House did very well at the box office, much to their surprise. And as you'll hear on our House episode, it was put together by the genius team of Steve Miner and Sean S. Cunningham, along with music by Harry Manfredini. So dream team putting that movie together. In this one, however, there was no Steve Miner, but Harry Manfredini, Ethan Wiley, who also did the screenplay for House based on Fred Decker's story. He wrote and directed this one, and Sean S. Cunningham produced. So this one has the majority of that little dream team. This is a turkey. Critically, Rotten Tomatoes has an 8% critic score. No surprise there, to be perfectly frank. The audience score, however, is a bit better with 42% for House 2. So I'm riding that line of this movie is half abysmal, half good stuff. Unfortunately, the half good stuff isn't strong enough to carry the movie into being a good movie. So there is that. It does have an 88-minute runtime. Thank God it's not super long. It had a budget of $3 million, a box office of 7.8 worldwide, so not the best. And I did love this trivia. Oh my gosh, this makes me want to jump on eBay the second I'm done recording. Apparently, to aid in the promotion of this movie's release, they did giveaways at the theaters with little crystal skull nightlights and catter puppy figurines. And when you've listened to this episode, and if you've seen the movie, you'll know what a catter puppy is and what a crystal skull has to do with it. So the house in this movie, and again, if you listen to the house episode, the house itself is a character. In this movie, House 2, the house is not a character. It is also still a portal to dimensions unknown, similar to the first house. This movie is in no way related to the first one, but they try and do a similar thing with the whole other dimension, or you can go to other realities or go to the past, basically is what it is. You can go to the past different times through the house, through portals. The house itself was a location called Mount St. Mary's College, Doheny Mansion in California, and then they shot in a few other locations in California as well. This house on the exterior, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful set piece. They do something weird to it, though. They doctor it up for the purposes of this film with stone columns and an interior etched all in Aztec design. It really bogs the inside of the house down, but outside it's beautiful. So as I mentioned before, Harry Manfredini did the music for this movie, and he also used some of the same bits he uses in the prior year from Friday the 13th Part 6 in this film, in House 2. He kind of stole from his own work from the previous year to put some pieces, some scoring in this movie. I thought that was amusing. As I mentioned, directed by Ethan Wiley. The first one was directed by Steve Miner, and the first one was written by Ethan Wiley based on a Fred Dekker story, which is why it's brilliant. This one, directed by Ethan Wiley, who took a promotion up to director, but he also wrote this one, so written and directed. And I'm sorry to say, they rushed him. They rushed this movie into production. He had 2 weeks to write this screenplay. I feel like unless he was working with a Fred Dekker story to have the magic that came out as House, you get this. And he was rushed. It's such a complete shame. I'm going to briefly go over the cast. In a normal episode, we would touch on people as we're going through the movie and introducing them. Here, I'm going to just give us a little bit of a quick rundown. We've got the main character of Jesse, played by Ari Gross. I'm not quite sure how you say his first name, Arye. He's still working to this day. He's been a bit player, had a couple of feature films, nothing highly notable. He's done a shit ton of TV. Most notably, he was on the series Ellen in the mid-90s. He was a regular, and this was his big foray into being a leading man, and it didn't quite work out for him. However, I will say, he has just got that charming, lovable, doofy, goof look about him all the time. Like he's got the mannerisms of just being this shy, awkward. And in this movie, that's what you want for this character, because he's not supposed to be this big strapping leading man who you feel like can overcome things. So I think he was well cast. However, I don't like that character. So I'm going to blame that on the screenwriting, not the actor. He's perfectly fine. We've got Charlie, his best friend, played by Jonathan Stark. He was Billy in Fright Night in 1985, the one who is kind of the familiar or, right-hand man of Chris Sarandon's vampire. I think Jonathan Stark was tamed for this movie. They should have let him go off, and I'm sure there is material on the cutting room floor somewhere of him being amazing and like doing stuff just off the top of his head, improv and such, because you can tell he has it. He has that bit where he can be really funny and dry and sarcastic, And I thought an interesting bit of trivia was the movie House has George Wendt in it, who was on the TV show Cheers, if you're old enough to remember that. This movie has John Ratzenberger in it, who was also on Cheers. And then back to Jonathan Stark, who played Charlie. He wrote 3 episodes of Cheers. He has moved into writing a lot of things. So I thought that was really funny to have all that Cheers stuff going on, the Cheers verse, if you will. But as mentioned, John Ratzenberger, he's also done voices in Toy Story. He's one of those faces where if you just look him up on IMDb, he's in everything. Like you go, oh my gosh, that guy. Okay, love him. He is severely underused in this movie. He comes in way too late, not until the 1 hour mark, and then he's only in it for about 10 minutes. I want so much more with his character because the performance is hilarious, interesting, totally buy it, and the character is intriguing. You're like, wow, why does he know so much about what they're, you'll see when we're talking about it, but this character and this actor severely underused in this movie. It was such a shame. They could have gone in such a different direction with this and made it so awesome. So the virgin / love interest for the end of the film, Devin DeVasquez, she was the big get for this movie for them because she was a Playboy centerfold featured 2 years before, I believe, in '85. So it was a big deal to get her, I would imagine. She's pretty. She doesn't get anything to say. She's just there, which is fine. We have Royal Dano playing Gramps, who apparently had just had heart surgery and was uninsurable, but they cast him in the movie anyway. And the character is stupid and silly, and I feel like they should not have gone the route they went with the script with the whole Gramps thing. But that doesn't take away from Royal's performance. He's so sweet and lovable. You want to hang out with him. You want him to be your Gramps. He's funny. It totally works for me, just that character. But in the grand scheme of the movie, it's so stupid the way that they do it. John, played by Bill Maher. I have to admit, I do like a dry, sarcastic Bill Maher. Severely underused, again, as most of these fun characters are. He has the potential to be so snarky and do so much, and even back and forth with Charlie in one scene, which we'll mention later. Severely underused. Such a bummer. We've got the main character, Irie Gross, plays Jesse. His girlfriend, Kate, played by Lar Park Lincoln. And when she showed up, I was like, oh my God, that's the girl from Friday the 13th, Part 7. The only 2 things I ever remember seeing her in was Friday the 13th, Part 7, and this. And then we've got Lana, who's an aspiring singer, Charlie's girlfriend at the beginning of the movie, played by a very young Amy Yazbek. My goodness, her outfits in this movie, no fault of her own. It's mid-'80s plus the costume designer. She looks crazy. She looks nuts, except for the one scene when she's in her underwear, which, why did she have to be in her underwear singing and dancing? I don't understand that. But the rest of the time when she's there, which isn't much, again, another character underused, she's delightful. And then we have the villain, Slim, played by Dean Cleverden. And again, Slim and Gramps being the undead Wild West characters. Such a stupid storyline. Lame, Ethan, terrible. Maybe in this day and age, that kind of plot could be pulled off better because you'd have the special effects and such to back it up. But everything looks so cheesy in this movie, special effects wise, and it's not their fault. It's just that's as far as we'd advanced at that point. I mean, we end up with puppets, stop motion animation over green screen, just that sort of thing. And it just takes away from the movie. It really takes away from what could be an enjoyable movie. And then the last bit of casting I want to mention is Dwyer Brown. He is Jesse's father when they're flashing back to the 50s in the opening scene of the movie. He's only in it for like 3 minutes in the beginning of the movie, but he plays, like I said, Jesse's father. But in the movie House, he played William Katz's lieutenant in the Vietnam flashbacks. So I thought that was really fun that he got to be in both movies because, why not? Yeah, as soon as the movie opened, I was like, hey, he was in House. Wait a minute. What's going on here? So the plot for House 2, as written on IMDb, makes the movie sound far better than it actually is. This is so funny. The new owner of a sinister house gets involved with reanimated corpses and demons searching for an ancient Aztec skull with magic powers. Now, doesn't that sound like a fun movie? On paper, sure. All right, let's dive in. The movie's opening credits show the words House 2, and I really like that the O is a crystal skull. So it lets you know right off the bat, this movie's going to have this crystal skull, which is very interesting to me ever since I saw a Discovery Channel program about them. And of course, which came out after Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which don't even get me started on that movie. But the idea of the crystal skulls, it's a neat concept to me, and theories about them and all that. So to see one on this opening credit, I had forgotten that that was like the plot of this movie. It was fun for me. Right when the movie started, I was like, hey, crystal skull, all right. We get the shot of that big, beautiful, ornate house. Like I said, it almost looks like a castle, which is really cool. We see Dwyer Brown and Jesse's mom giving him up as a baby to get him out of the house. And then they get killed by who we find out is undead Slim, Slim Razor, who comes back from the dead looking for the skull. He kills the parents. So that's all they're in the movie for like 3 minutes. And I will say, when I saw Slim, he comes in looking like a decaying member of ZZ Top, and it's not good effects. It's not good makeup. I'm sorry, guys. The budget obviously went to puppets and stop motion animation because it didn't go to the creature makeup. He does not look good, okay? But then the movie fast forwards to 25 years later, and we meet Jesse, who was the baby that they gave up in the beginning. He finds out that his real parents lived here and he's inherited this house. I love, like I mentioned before, that this house is so beautiful and big and ornate, stained glass windows, and everything inside is so beautiful. And then they have these cheesy stone Aztec carving pillars all over the inside, and it's supposed to go with the theme of the movie, but it's so dumb. It makes the house look horrible. There's even a altar style mantle with a little throne. It's just too much. It's so over the top. So his girlfriend, Laura Parlinkin, she is a record producer, which is, and again, I mentioned Bill Maher is in this. He plays her boss, and Amy Yazbek plays an aspiring singer. This whole like side story about the music producing and the music is so stupid, and we don't even need it. It doesn't need to be here. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't go with the main plot of the film. His best friend Charlie shows up. I love Charlie. Oh my God, he's not given enough to do, painfully. He would be hysterical if you would just let him go. So again, if you listen to our episode on House, you'll see that there's a greater theme and a greater message and an underlying story that they're telling in the movie, which is amazing. This one, there's none of that. This one is that these two guys, Jesse and Charlie, simply out of greed, nothing more, they're motivated by greed, decide to go dig up Jesse's great-great-grandfather to see if he was buried with this crystal skull. It's a completely impure motivation. It makes me not care because they're just being greedy and selfish. And also, when they go to dig up the great-great-grandfather, how many laws are they breaking right about now? I mean, come on. So then Gramps comes back from the dead. He's undead, and he has the skull, and he tells the boys, we need to keep the skull protected. We can't let it fall into the wrong hands. But yet he sets it on that little throne mantle on the fireplace in the living room of their house, out in the open, completely unprotected, but says, we got to make sure nobody takes this thing, and he just leaves it sitting in the house. Huge plot hole there. So I'm guessing Gramps and Charlie are supposed to be the comic relief in this movie, and it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. This movie was hit and miss with that. And again, I'm going to blame it on the screenwriting. They had 2 weeks to write this shit and get it done, and didn't let the comic people do what they do. They just, I don't know, pounded this out real quick, and it shows. It shows, let me tell you. So Bill Maher shows up as John, the records company's president, Jesse's girlfriend's boss. And again, the subplot that doesn't need to be there, but I do like when Bill Maher shows up and he and Charlie have like a confrontation at the front door, and Bill Maher's like, who are you supposed to be, Bozo the Clown? To Charlie, and he just gets the serious look on his face, and he's like, no, Bozo the Death Machine. Now, This is this quick little thing between them, and it's funny. The movie needs a whole bunch more of that, and it doesn't have it. Another thing that was funny, like I said, Gramps, he's back from being dead 170 years or whatever he says, and he's sitting with a box of tissues, and he keeps pulling the tissues out, and he's so amused. He's amusing himself. He's like, whoa, they just keep coming and coming. And then he finally runs out of tissues, and he's like shaking the box, and he's like, oh, I broke it. And he throws the box. Like, there's a few things like that that are little gags that work. But again, can't save this movie. It's nice to have a few laughs, but overall, it doesn't help the movie. We do get a really sweet scene, however, of him telling Jesse and Charlie what it was really like to be in the Old West. And it's really sweet how they're sitting there and listening and soaking it all in, like all of this history and richness that they're getting from an authentic telling. It's such a sweet scene. And then, of course, Charlie forgets he invited a bunch of people over for a Halloween party. Like, the next night is Halloween. How do you forget you did that? Because the place is decorated magically. Suddenly there's enough alcohol for everybody. Like, you obviously had to have planned it, but he's only been there a day. He showed up a day before. It's so dumb. But the upside is Gramps, looking all decayed and gross, fits right in, which is such a funny movie trope. Like, they do it in Idle Hands. Anybody who's dead or undead, they fit right in on Halloween because it just looks like a costume, right? So there's one funny thing of note in this. An Aztec warrior or man from the Stone Age, unclear, shows up out of the portal to come get the crystal skull, and he crashes the Halloween party. And he gets confronted in the hallway briefly by a very baby-faced Kane Hodder in a gorilla costume. Kane Hodder, that's him. He does his own stunt there where he gets pushed over the railing. He was the stunt coordinator for this movie. He was the stunt coordinator for House. And as you know, he was a stunt coordinator for many things, including Friday the 13th, where he also in some of the films played Jason himself. He was also in Friday the 13th Part 7 with Lar Parlinkin. So a little bit of connecting all the verses here, all the movie verses. So basically, the guy gets the skull and runs off to the portal. Charlie and Jesse have to follow him. So, of course, Charlie armed with an Uzi, and poor Jesse doesn't have barely anything. They go into a room that looks like a jungle. And I guess they go back to the Stone Age because we see like a volcano and a giant brontosaurus. Which is really cool, but it's like, what? What is happening? They manage to get the skull and make it back to the house. So a pterodactyl gets the crystal skull and makes it back through the portal into the house with them. And it's supposed to be this funny scene where Jesse's chasing the bird like around the dining room table, and he's trying to catch the bird. And it's this terrible looking puppet. I don't know why they went this route with the silly puppet. It's supposed to be funny, and it's not. It is not a bit that works. It's painful, and you're like, why, movie? Oh, it's so bad. So also, when they came back, they brought back with them a creature that looks like a mix between a pug puppy and a glowworm caterpillar. And it barks. So it is called a catter puppy. It's ugly, but it's so ugly that it's cute. But again, it's a puppet and it's silly. And so if the movie's not working already, you don't pile on more silly, but they do. More Aztecs show up and steal the skull and take it back into the portal underground and in the house. And then all of a sudden, randomly at like the 1 hour mark, and this has all happened in an hour. This is how slow and stupid the movie's been. At the 1 hour mark, Bill, who is an electrician / adventurer, because that's on his business card. I want to be a whatever / adventurer. Can I do that? Can I be? I know. I'll make business cards that say movie miss, podcaster / adventurer. It's awesome. All I have to do is get a toolbox and carry around a sword in it, just like he does. So John Ratzenberger as Bill shows up. From the minute he enters, he's funny. You're like, yes, thank you. Like, especially after just watching House, you're like, oh, comic relief, cheers, alum. You're here to save this dreadful movie. No, he's in it for about 8 minutes. He cleverly ties some string, runs a string so they can find their way back, and he has a sword, and they go down into what looks like a scene inside the portal from like Temple of Doom. Where the Aztecs are going to sacrifice a virgin on a slab and they have the crystal skull. This scene, however, is a fun scene. Again, there are some bright spots. This one is one of them. It's a really fun fight scene. You can see everybody doing their little action and they're fighting off the Aztecs and they're winning and they save the virgin and they get the skull in spite of everything. They make it out and then Bill leaves. And I'm like, no, don't go. You're like the best part of this movie so far. But he leaves. So now the guys are back. They've got Gramps, they've got the skull, they've got Caterpuppy, they've got Pterodactyl Bird, they've got this virgin that they've saved who doesn't speak any English. Luckily, Bill Maher and Amy Yazbek and Laura Parlinkin, their characters, the whole music industry thing, they all leave. They storm out of the house and take off. So luckily, they're gone now. So there's nobody here to witness any of this. And it makes you wonder, why was that even a subplot? It gives them a reason to leave the house because they all have to go take care of their music business stuff. But then you're like, well, why were they even there in the first place and need an excuse to leave? Like, it's so stupid. It shouldn't even have happened. So the villainous Slim Razor shows up. He's looking for that crystal skull. He and Gramps get into a confrontation and he shoots Gramps, which Gramps is already dead. Or undead, sort of, but okay, he shoots him. Just go with it, I guess. There's a very ineffective chase scene between Jesse and Slim. It's not tense. It's not exciting. Nobody cares. They wind up back in the house. The cops show up and they're outside yelling at him to put down your weapon because they can hear guns being fired in the house. We've got the place surrounded. Come out. Jesse and Slim are in a shooting match and Jesse blows Slim to pieces. Which is not an exciting, triumphant moment. As you'll hear on our house podcast, and I don't want to ruin it, but the hero gets his moment of triumph and realization and overcoming. There's none of that here. You couldn't give two shits that Jesse blows Slim's head off. You just don't care. You're like, okay. So he takes the crystal skull into Gramps, who's dying. And I guess, wah-wah, this is why they needed to have Gramps go ahead and be shot and sort of die again, because they wanted to have this sweet, sentimental death scene with him and Jesse, where he passes away and he's hugging him and telling him he's proud of him and he loves him and all that. It doesn't hit. It doesn't give me the feels. I'm not invested. I thought this movie is stupid for the most part. So it doesn't do what a scene like this should effectively do. Unfortunately, it just comes across lame. Sorry, again, rushed screenwriting, I guess. But again, the cops are outside threatening to come in and they heard all that gunfire and they didn't storm the castle. Like, really? They just let it all play out? The cops just decide to unload and they start firing into the house for whatever reason. Maybe because Jesse doesn't come out. And they accidentally hit some stuff and the house starts to catch fire. Well, Jesse has saved Charlie and the Virgin. They're inside the old Wild West portal. So Jesse takes Gramps' body and the baby pterodactyl who's got the crystal skull and the Caterpuppy, and they all walk through this little portal, this white window at the end of the hall, this white doorway, and they go into that old Wild West where Charlie and the Virgin girl are waiting. He buries Gramps and sets the crystal skull on the grave, and then the pterodactyl, the Caterpuppy, and Charlie and the girl and Jesse all ride off into the sunset in the Wild West in this little covered wagon. They're going to stay in the Wild West, I guess. The end. Roll credits. This movie had potential. It was rushed. And a lot of movies do this. They're not the only one, where they fast track the sequel before opening weekend even closes because it's done so much money. You know, back in the old days, they got the gross from the first film, and a year later, this one's in production. Fast tracked. Why they give the guy 2 weeks to write the script? Who fucking knows? Do you not want your movie to succeed? It's like, really? You're just setting it up for failure at that point. In any event, my take on this is it's a fun thing to just put on in the background if you're just cleaning up the living room and you just want something on, because it's got a few moments of levity and a few moments of some funny things. It's fun to see Kane Hodder. It's fun to see Gramps and Charlie doing their thing. But for the most part, just to sit down and try to enjoy this movie, I don't think I know anybody who can do that. And even though I keep saying, this movie has its bright spots, I didn't enjoy it. I had to carefully, make notes so I could talk about it right now for you. But do I love this movie? No. Now, do I love House? People who lump House and House 2 together infuriate me. They are not even close to being the same. They have the same name and a lot of the same production team, like I mentioned, and people involved. Not the same movie. Not even on the same level. People who remember this movie and not really House, and they go, oh yeah, House, that movie was dumb. You're remembering House 2. So please give House another chance. Do not judge House by House 2, people. Don't do it. All right. I want to thank you for listening. I'm Movie Miss. And until next time, bye. Hey listeners, Movie Miss here. Listen, I know you have a lot of options when it comes to podcasts, so thank you for listening to the show. I know everybody says this, but for a fledgling little show like ours that's just hanging on, we just finished season 4, we're rolling into season 5, it would really help us if you could subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Good Pods. We're also on Pandora, Audible, Amazon Music. It would really help us grow the show and reach more people if you could subscribe and then rate and review, which is really the key part of it. Make sure to be part of our Bad Movie conversation by following us on social media. Interact with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Movie Miss, which is movie_miss. The show is on Instagram at Let's Talk Turkeys. Also on Blue Sky at Let's Talk Turkeys and Facebook. We're on X. I'm honestly not sure how much longer I'm going to have the show on there, but currently the handle is at Gobble Podcast. Get it? Gobble, 'cause like a turkey. You can also chat with like-minded bad movie lovers in our Facebook discussion group. And like I mentioned, we're rolling into season 5. It is 2025. The show, it's been a wild ride, still going strong. So if you have a movie that you would like to hear covered on the show, let me know by emailing direct at letstalkturkeys, all one word, at yahoo.com. Also, hit me up on socials if you want to be a guest on the show. Always looking for guests. I can assign you a movie, something we think is fun, or you can bring a movie that you think is a bad movie if it has a low Rotten Tomatoes score, or you just really don't like the movie but you like to talk about it. That's half the fun, I think. Again, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. Without you, the show wouldn't still be kicking around. So thank you so much for hanging in there with us.
I'll be back.
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Why don't you get the fuck out of here? Well, get the fuck out of here. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go. Good